What if you had the power to make Shaytan flee from you instantly? Not through superstition, not through ritual, but through divine words gifted to you in the Qur'an. Right now, at this very moment, there are women in Gaza clinging to these verses as bombs shake their homes. They say, "We have no protection but Allah, and still our hearts are firm." There are men in solitary prison cells in India, Yemen, and Xinjiang who whisper these verses into the darkness and find peace that even bars can't block. There's a young brother in New York who left gang life behind and says what saved him wasn't fear of the law. It was Surah An-Nas at 3 a.m. during a breakdown. You are not powerless. Allah gave you the spiritual weapons, and the enemy fears them. Shaytan runs from the house where certain verses are recited. He retreats from hearts that remember Allah consistently. So the real question is, are you using the tools Allah gave you? Or are you fighting barehanded in a spiritual war? Today we explore 5 verses from the Qur'an that Shaytan fears the most. Verses that don't just sound beautiful, they break chains. Verses that protect homes, stabilize minds, and return hearts to Allah. This isn't just about reciting, this is about activating your spiritual defense system. Are you ready to unlock it? Comment below with, "I seek refuge in Allah," if you're ready to shield your soul today. Before starting this video, don't forget to like this video, because it gives us a lot of strength to continue sharing beneficial content. And I invite you to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell to stay informed of our next publications on the Islamic faith. Share it with your loved ones and leave a comment to tell me what you think. Thank you and good video. Verse 1, Ayat al-Kursi, the throne of protection. Allah, there is no deity except Him, the ever-living, the sustainer of all existence. With those majestic words begins Ayat al-Kursi, Surah al-Baqarah 2:255, the greatest verse in the Qur'an. Why is this verse so powerful that Shaytan flees from the home where it is recited? Because it affirms Allah's absolute authority, His dominion over the heavens and the earth, His complete knowledge, and His ceaseless watchfulness. This is a declaration of who Allah is and what forces are subject to Him. The Prophet Muhammad said in a famous hadith, "Whoever recites Ayat al-Kursi before sleeping, Allah will send a guardian angel to protect him, and no Shaytan will approach him until morning." Sahih Bukhari. Now think about that. An angel assigned to your soul while you sleep, just for reciting one verse. Real story, a mother in Syria. In a bomb-shelled neighborhood of Aleppo, a mother named Yasmin shared this story online. "We used to gather all 6 of our children under one blanket. After every explosion, my hands trembled, but I'd hold them close and whisper Ayat al-Kursi over them. One night, my 10-year-old son said, 'Mama, the angels are here, aren't they?' Despite living in a war zone, that verse gave her children calm and gave her the courage to sleep, knowing angels guarded her home. And that's not a story from centuries ago. That's happening now. The Quran is not a relic. It is a shield still active for those who believe. And the enemies of your soul, doubt, fear, anxiety, whisperings from Shaytan, they know the power of this verse. Sometimes, Shaytan doesn't come with horns and smoke. He comes as procrastination, despair, addictive thoughts. Ayat al-Kursi slams the door on all of that, because once you proclaim Allah's throne, the thrones of falsehood crumble. Spiritual insight, why this verse works. It describes Allah's eternal life, Al-Hayy. It affirms His sustaining power, Al-Qayyum. It reminds you that He neither tires nor sleeps, even as you do. It tells Shaytan, this house is guarded by the King of Kings. In fact, the Prophet taught this verse to a man whom he found being robbed by Shaytan himself, appearing in human form. Shaytan admitted to the Prophet's companion, Recite Ayat al-Kursi before sleeping. It will protect you from me. And the Prophet confirmed, he told you the truth, though he is a liar. Sahih Bukhari. Even Shaytan fears this verse. He knows what it unlocks. Make this verse your night armor. No night should pass without it. If angels guard you while you sleep, why sleep without them? Type, I wear my spiritual armor, if you already recite it, or commit to start tonight. Let's flood the comments with people joining the army of remembrance. Verse 2, Surah Al-Falaq. Against dark forces say, I seek refuge in the Lord of the daybreak. That's how Surah Al-Falaq begins, a command from Allah Himself to seek His protection. But protection from what? This short but powerful surah ends with, from the evil of the envier when he envies, from the evil of darkness when it settles, from the evil of those who blow on knots. Each line targets the unseen forces that creep into our lives: envy, sorcery, darkness, and spiritual sabotage. Quranic background. This surah, along with Surah An-Nas, was revealed after the Prophet Muhammad was targeted by black magic. The Prophet began feeling unwell, confused, and physically weak. A powerful form of sorcery had been used against him. Gabriel, descended and instructed him to recite Al-Falaq and An-Nas. These two surahs became known as Al-Mu'awwidatayn, the two protectors. Once he recited them, the spell was broken, and the Prophet, peace be upon him, was healed. If the greatest human being was taught to seek refuge in Allah through these verses, how much more do we need them? Real story, from occult to obedience. Brazil. A woman named Carla from Brazil shared this in a podcast interview. I used to be deep into astrology, crystal healing, and even small forms of spirit summoning. When I became Muslim, I still felt haunted by strange dreams and heavy energy in my room. One day, a sister told me to memorize Surah Al-Falaq and recite it before bed. I cried the first time I did. I felt like I was cleaning spiritual stains off my heart. Now I can sleep peacefully. Carla said that reading Surah Al-Falaq with sincerity felt like sealing her soul with divine light. She didn't need sage. She didn't need talismans. She needed the word of Allah. Emotional reflection. Sometimes the enemy is invisible. It whispers, it lingers, it envies. But Allah sees what you cannot, and He gave you a verse to counter every unseen attack. It doesn't matter if the harm is from a jealous co-worker, the hidden hand of sihr, sorcery, or just an unexplained heaviness you feel in your soul. Surah Al-Falaq is not just a recitation. It's a request for divine surveillance. Every time you say, Kul a'udu bi rabbil falaq, you are saying, O Allah, watch over me when I cannot watch over myself. Your struggle may be hidden, but your shield is not. Use it daily. Even when you feel vulnerable, know that Allah gave you a defense system you can access with your tongue. Write, I seek Allah's protection from what I cannot see. Declare it in the comments and join the global chain of protection. Verse 3, Surah An-Nas, Shaytan's whisper killer. Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of mankind. With these words begins a powerful weapon, Surah An-Nas, the final chapter of the Qur'an. But don't let its size fool you. This surah is surgical in its aim. It targets the most insidious enemy you have, the whisperer. Quranic theme, from the evil of the whisperer who withdraws, who whispers in the hearts of mankind. Surah An-Nas exposes Shaytan's method. He doesn't confront you openly. He slips into your thoughts. He doesn't scream, he whispers. And just when you resist, he retreats, then waits to return again. This surah teaches you that you're not crazy for feeling mental chaos sometimes. You're under spiritual attack, and Allah gave you the precise verse to strike back. Real story. A brother in Pakistan. A 27-year-old man from Karachi wrote anonymously in a support group, "I was at my breaking point. I prayed Fajr and went into sujood longer than usual, crying like a child. I didn't even know what to say. Then Surah An-Nas came to my lips. I whispered it over and over in prostration. The waswas, the dark thoughts, they didn't vanish overnight. But that morning, for the first time in months, I walked out of the masjid feeling like I had some control again." That's what this verse does. It may not erase the storm immediately, but it calms the panic inside long enough for you to hold on and get help. The twin shield, Al-Falaq plus An-Nas. The Prophet Muhammad taught us to recite both Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas every morning and evening. They are sisters in defense. Al-Falaq guards you from external harm, envy, darkness, black magic. An-Nas protects from internal invasion, thoughts, whispers, psychological warfare. Combined, they form your full-body spiritual armor. When to use Surah An-Nas? During a mental spiral before exams or major decisions. When you feel off for no clear reason. When your salah feels unfocused. In the middle of anxiety or OCD episodes, this is your mind shield, sent by the one who knows how fragile hearts can be. When your mind spirals, recite this verse aloud. It silences Shaytan. Don't just think it, say it. Let the sound of Tawheed drive the whispers out. Comment, I silence the whispers. Let your soul speak louder than doubt. Let's create a wall of hearts choosing refuge in Allah together. Verse 4, Surah Al-Baqarah 2286. Divine burden breaker. Allah does not burden a soul beyond that it can bear. It will have the consequence of what good it has gained, and it will bear the consequence of what evil it has earned. Surah Al-Baqarah 2286. This verse is a pillar of hope and a profound message of mercy. Quranic context. This verse closes Surah Al-Baqarah, a chapter known as the mother of the book, and serves as a divine reminder. No hardship or trial will ever exceed what Allah has measured for your soul. It assures that Allah's justice is perfect. Even when life feels unbearable, this verse promises that your limits are known and respected by the most merciful. Real story. Strength from the heart of Sudan. In a crowded refugee camp in Sudan, Amina, a mother of 4, shared her nightly ritual. Every night I repeat this verse over and over. When the cries of my children and the coldness of the tent press down on me, I remind myself, Allah does not burden me beyond what I can bear. There are nights when the pain is too much, but this verse gives me the strength to wake up again. One more day, one more prayer. Amina's story reminds us that this verse is not just ancient words on a page. It is a lifeline for millions facing real pain now. Why this verse is powerful. It validates your suffering without minimizing it. It acknowledges your endurance and capacity to survive. It reminds you that Allah's mercy is personalized. He knows your exact threshold. It empowers you to face hardship with dignity because your trial is a sign that you are chosen and capable. When to use this verse? During moments of anxiety that feel overwhelming, when grief threatens to consume you, when burdens seem too heavy to carry, when you doubt your ability to keep going, this verse is a reminder to pause, breathe, and say, Allah has measured this burden for me, and I will not be crushed. This verse is not just for comfort. It's a reminder. You are chosen for your trial. Your endurance is not by accident, it is by divine decree. Type, Allah is enough for me, if you faced a test that broke you but didn't destroy you. Let's fill the comments with stories of strength and faith rising from hardship. Verse 5, Surah Al-Imran 3:173. Turning fear into tawakkul, hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil. Sufficient for us is Allah, and He is the best disposer of affairs. Surah 3, Al-Imran 3173. These powerful words were uttered by the believers when faced with overwhelming odds. When armies surrounded them, threats loomed large, and fear tried to take hold. Quranic context. In the battle against the forces that sought to destroy the early Muslim community, the believers were terrified. Yet, they turned to Allah with absolute trust and said, "Sufficient for us is Allah, and He is the best disposer of affairs." This verse encapsulates the essence of tawakkul, complete reliance on Allah even when the situation looks hopeless. Real story: a Palestinian youth's jail room faith. In a prison cell far from home, Ahmad, a young Palestinian, was detained unjustly during a protest. He told a friend later, "The jail was cold and the guards were harsh, but I kept repeating, 'Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil' over and over. Every time fear tried to grip my heart, this verse was like a shield." Ahmad said it wasn't just a phrase, it was the source of his courage. It made him fearless, even in chains. Why this verse matters? It flips the narrative from fear to faith. It reminds you that no matter how many forces seem against you, Allah's power is unmatched. It strengthens the heart to face trials without despair. It anchors the soul in hope and reliance. Use this verse when you feel overwhelmed by challenges, when anxiety tells you you're alone, when injustice seems to surround you, when fear threatens to paralyze your actions. When you feel cornered, this verse reminds you, Allah is never outnumbered. Your trust is your weapon, your reliance is your victory. Right, Allah is my wakil, if you've ever had to trust when everything screamed fear. Let your words declare your strength and faith. Conclusion and spiritual activation challenge. Build your spiritual power shield. You've just discovered 5 powerful verses from the Quran, each a piece of a divine shield designed to make Shaytan flee and activate your spiritual power with Allah. Together, they form a spiritual power shield you can wear daily. Ayat al-Kursi, your night armor, protecting your home and heart while you sleep. Surah al-Falaq, the shield against unseen dark forces, envy, sorcery, and harm. Surah an-Nas, the whisper killer that silences Shaytan's deceptive voice in your mind. Surah al-Baqarah 2286, the divine burden breaker that reminds you are chosen for your trial. Surah al-Imran 3173, the verse that transforms fear into absolute trust in Allah's power. This isn't just a list of verses, it's a spiritual toolkit, a living armor, and a daily reminder of Allah's closeness, mercy, and protection. Spiritual Activation Challenge, the 7-day shield. Here's how to activate your shield and feel Shaytan retreat. Day 1. Recite Ayat al-Kursi with intention before sleeping. Reflect on the protection it grants your home and soul. Day 2. Read Surah al-Falaq morning and night, asking Allah to shield you from envy and unseen harm. Day 3. Use Surah an-Nas when negative whispers cloud your mind. Recite it in moments of doubt. Day 4. Repeat Surah al-Baqarah 2286. When you feel overwhelmed, remind yourself you are stronger than your trials. Day 5. Say Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil from Surah al-Imran 3173 whenever fear or anxiety strikes. Day 6. Combine all 5 verses in your morning and evening routine. Feel the strength grow inside. Day 7. Reflect deeply on how your connection with Allah has transformed your sense of safety and peace. Prophetic wisdom. The Prophet Muhammad said, "Satan does not enter a house in which Surah al-Baqarah is recited." Al-Bukhari and Muslim. Imagine your life as a fortress. These verses are the walls, the gates, the watchmen. These verses are not passwords. They are power codes. Activate them. Don't just read, feel, reflect. Live these verses daily. Drop it in the comments if you're joining the 7-day shield challenge. Let's defend our souls together. Join thousands worldwide who are choosing protection over fear, light over darkness.